Hey everyone, Happy New Year. I know it's been a long time since I've posted on YouTube, and in 2018, I'm vowing to be posting a little more regularly, making videos. So I thought I'd start out 2018 by sharing what I'm using every day. I've really simplified this year. I want to develop a habit of journaling or art journaling or being creative every single day. So this is what I'll be using. This is a Hobonichi A5 cousin. And so I'll be using this along with an A5 Stalogy. I have two notebooks in here, and I'll share why in a bit. And for my daily planning, I'm using a Hobonichi Weeks. And this is in a Giglio Appunto Slim. And this is really working for me right now. I guess the longer I've been planning, I'm starting to realize that I don't need that much when I go out. And the heavier my planner is, then I was leaving it in the car or leaving it at home. So this is really working for me. It just has my weekly schedule along with room to write. Sometimes I write my goals, what I need to buy, what I need to do, and then anything of note, such as my kids getting sick, or a car broke down, or I paid off the card, or anything that is a little bit out of the ordinary. So in addition to that, it has the month on 2 pages. So it has my schedule on it, and this is exactly what I need if I were to go to the doctor and need to make an appointment. So, and I just color code it according to the kids' sports stuff versus my work schedule, that sort of thing. I also have this notebook in here. I think I got these at Marshall's in a pack of 2, and it fits perfectly. It's just a blank notebook, so I can jot down notes, anything miscellaneous. And then I wanted something pretty and colorful when I opened up my planner, so I taped in one of my dashboards. So I'm using this now as a wallet. So I was worried that it would be a little too bulky if I did that, but you can see it's still pretty slim. I think because it doesn't have rings, it doesn't feel too bulky, and I tend to like smaller footprint for planners, and so I'm really enjoying this. So and the reason why I don't really decorate or do a whole lot with my day-to-day planning is because I would prefer to spend more time creating and doing what I really love, which is journaling, art journaling, memory keeping, that sort of thing. This is, these 2 notebooks are being housed in a traveler's notebook by Speckled Fawn. I don't know the name of the leather, unfortunately, but the leather is pretty thick and yet pliable, and it's a kind of leather that isn't super precious, and I do like that because this is an art journal or journal, and it could get ink on it or even paint, and this is the kind of leather that I feel like will just look better over time. So let's get into the Hobonichi. Again, this is an A5, so it's larger than the A6, which is what I've used in the past. I like the A6, but I found that some days it just wasn't enough room to journal. So I'm really enjoying the A5. So just to start off the new year, I hand lettered that, and then I stamped this out on dictionary page and stuck it in here. This is my one little word for 2018, and I talked about why I chose it in an Instagram post if you're interested. It just has a lot of meanings that I think just made it clear that that's my word for the year. So I'd like to jot down little snippets of what's going on in our day-to-day life. And so we were traveling for a week, and we got home, and I was almost bullet journaling my random thoughts of stuff I had to get done, that sort of thing. And then the very next day, we actually headed out again. We went to Pittsburgh for the mayor's inauguration. My husband's cousin happens to be the mayor, and it's his second term, and we wanted to go so the kids could experience it, but also just support the family, and it was well worth the trip. It was really fun. And this was in the middle of our huge cold snap, that long one. I think most of the country was having a cold snap too, but And this pretty much summed up what we did for the next 2 days, which was just bundled up. We stayed home. We were hibernating. Um, and I want to be really loose with how I use this book. Some days I will journal. Other days I'll just do art or even a quote. This is, I just want to jot down and remember the funny things that my kids say. I have a 5-year-old and he's just chock full of questions and some of them are hilarious. And then I was documenting what my husband and I are watching on Netflix. And speaking of Netflix, that's my time period at night when we sit in front of the TV. I just get out my supplies and, that's when I just spend a little time doing this. So far it hasn't felt like a chore. Of course, that could change. It's only mid-January, but I've been enjoying it. Then it was still ridiculously cold. We kept having delays, and even like we got out of school 2.5 hours early. So I was writing about that. And the very next day, after 2 weeks, it finally hit over 32 degrees. It was 41 degrees, and it felt downright tropical. So that inspired this page. We even ate pineapple. And I kind of like the juxtaposition with this page. This, by the way, is a penguin. It's ephemera that I cut out of a Trader Joe's grocery bag along with this. Trader Joe's has some really great artwork in their flyers and their bags. So I just cut them out and save them for times like this. On this day, I was happy that I got a bunch of bargains, but then I was kind of admonishing myself for not having discipline in buying. I'm trying to be better about that this year. My younger son started T-ball, and then I went back to my part-time job at the Maryland Legislature, the General Assembly. I report 1 day a week for the 90-day session, and so this is a yearly thing. I always start up in January. And then it was the weekend again, and I had this photo I took this week of my son and I. We were holding hands and waiting outside for our car to be washed. And I just love this picture so much. So I combined it with this quote that I love. And this is ephemera from a children's book. And I think it turned out pretty good. And what's nice is if you do a 2-page spread, then it does give you a break for a little bit. I didn't have to, you don't have to write something every day. So I don't mind some days, using up a couple pages. And then, like I said, I have this Stalogy notebook. Now, the Stalogy is made of very similar paper. I don't think it's Tamora River technically, but it's really similar. It's smooth, it's really thin, and it holds wet media really well. So, and the other thing I like about it is it's undated. Unlike the Hobonichi, so you can write pages and pages at a time, and I kind of wanted a place that I could just write like deeper thoughts, longer format journaling. Now, I got this notebook before I got the Hobonichi, so I got this in November to test it out, see if I really like the size, see if I felt like I could really art journal in this, and once I realized I really liked it, that's when I purchased the Hobonichi. So this is all stuff I did in November. I was catching up on life and what I was doing. And then we went to Disney World with my family for a really nice, a magical 1-week vacation with my sister and her family. So I was writing about our memories, our best memories. It was our first time. And I was literally just listing out everything I could think of, how much fun we had. And then later on, I went back in with my Faber-Castell gelatos. Whoops, sorry. Moving the tripod. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So later on, I went back in with some gelatos, and I just put down a little bit of color, some subtle color. Mermaid, I was drawing here. Now, some of the things, if you saw this video, I actually posted a video last night, and I realized that maybe some of the things that I was writing about were personal, because again, this is kind of my let's go deeper journal. So I wanted to hide some things. I didn't think it was necessary to share everything. This was the 5-year, I don't want to say anniversary, but it's been 5 years since the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting, and it just struck me about, how sad and how it changed me as a mother and all of this. So I was writing about that. I thought this was appropriate for that. And then I was annoyed that I felt like my kids were being ungrateful. This kind of shows you how I was feeling. So I was just writing it out. And some days you just need that, that outlet. Of course, there's a fine line between admonishing and shame and shaming. And I felt like I might have crossed it a little bit. So I was trying to put myself in check. These are some quotes by Brene Brown about shame and empathy. And yeah, because as you know, when you're a parent, every day is different and it can be hard. I love this quote. Go and love someone exactly as they are, and then watch how quickly they transform into the greatest, truest version of themselves. When one feels seen and appreciated in their own essence, one is instantly empowered. So I'll go back and probably add some color to this. I drew a rough sketch of a mama bird with 2 baby birds, so I'll come back to that. On this day, I met a woman who has 7 kids, and she was, 7 children. I struggle with 2, and she has some really rough challenges and circumstances, and despite that, she had this really amazing attitude, a can-do attitude. She was very uplifting, and I was really inspired by her, so I wrote about her. I want this book to be more of a catch-all, and kind of a no rhyme, no reason. So I wanted to document what Pitt artist pens I have, which aquarelle crayons I have, the Neocolor crayons, which I love, by the way. This is my tin, my go-to tin. These look just like crayons when you use them on dry paper, but if I were to put a wet brush on this, then it looks like watercolor. And I love it. The colors are amazing. So I've been having fun with them. I like to doodle a lot, and this was December 22nd, so I was writing about all the things I was looking forward to. We were about to go to New York City and then the Berkshire Mountains to see my husband's side of the family. Little hand lettering, watercolor. This is a 2-page spread. I've been trying to draw more girls or women, and I want to find my own style in that regard, and it can be hard, so I just keep trying, experimenting. I love this quote. And for this background, I use acrylic paint. So I put down gesso and then acrylic paint on top of that. I was talking about healthy eating, how hard that is. And then December 25th, I was writing about how grateful I was. Just we had a great day, and then I was super happy that, I guess, if any kids are watching, I need to be careful, but I was happy that the elf magically disappeared and will be away for the next year. So just so many, and I even wrote down my kids' favorite toys that they got for Christmas. I think those are the small details that eventually I think I'll enjoy reading about. So this is the day that I decided on my one little word. I don't love this, to be honest, but like I said, not everything works, and I like the color palette, though. I tend to like a little dark with bright. Oh, and this is the worst one, clearly. This one, I used my Neocolor crayons, and I put down the color, and then used a wet brush over it, and for some reason, some of the ink smeared, and I didn't love that, but it's okay. But I was writing about why I chose my word enough and just all the different ways it appealed to me. This is a quote that I really liked. I wish you enough sun to keep your attitude bright. I wish you enough rain to appreciate the sun more. I wish you enough happiness to keep your spirit alive. It's really lovely. And then this day I started this journaling challenge by Jen Morris Creative. On Instagram. It's called The Beautiful Beginnings Journaling. These are journaling prompts, essentially. So she gives you one a day. I intend, I release, I welcome, and I am. And you could use, a whole day to write about it. But I think I ended up doing 4 to 5 in one day, or maybe 4 at a time to catch up. But I just, some days I had more to say about a certain word or prompt, and others less. So here's a few more. I carry, I believe. And then these are notes from this mixed media class I was taking. So I only had this for notes, and I had all this extra space, so I decided I didn't want to waste it. This is something from that mixed media class. We were making maps, and I decided to do a life map of all the places I've lived in since I left home. So I went from home to Boston for college, Tokyo for study abroad, Greenville, North Carolina, Austin, Minnesota, Raleigh, North Carolina, then Philadelphia, and then I moved to Washington, D.C., where I got married, bought a house, became a mom. So it's interesting to see this came full circle, and we're still living in D.C. right now. So I'm still working on my 2018 goals. I want to really clarify them, and I know a lot of people don't do goals because they feel like they're writing the same thing every year. And of course, it's to be better with money and health and time and balance and all of that. But I still love it. I think it's really good for me to just reaffirm what's important to me. And it's just an exercise that I love, and I'll probably do every year. And I covered up some of the reason, that's why there's sticky notes in here. But so this is more journaling prompts. I hope, I expect, I accept, and I love being able to just write and not make it pretty if I don't want. If I have time, sometimes I'll go back and color, give it some color, but I don't really have to either. This is the last one I did, which is the I will quote prompt, and I challenge myself to draw a girl with just 2 colors, just black and this aqua. And, even though I love color and I love, I've been using a ton of color in my journals, but this was a fun exercise or fun challenge for myself. So that is it. So that's how I'm using 2 books this year. I know it's going to get super thick. I've seen other people's, and I almost wish I had an AVEC or the 6-month journal so I can switch them out after 6 months, but it is what it is, and I'm going to keep going. I don't plan on putting a ton of photos or ephemera in here. I think I'd like to keep it mostly, just my art and drawing and doodling. So if I do that, it shouldn't get too crazy thick. I'll put an occasional photo in. And I do plan on still doing my scrappy journals. Thank you so much to so many people who've commented or asked me questions or left messages. I have so many scrappy journals that I've done over the past year that I haven't shared. So I think I'll share them. I figure no one really cares that they're old, given that they're my memories, and they are super fun books, and I still love doing that. I have so many photos, especially of the kids, and they're changing all the time. So I needed a place to memory keep and tell those stories. So I'll be doing that. Oh, one thing I thought I might show you is in the Hobonichi, they have a weekly section, and they have a monthly section and a weekly section. For the monthly, I decided I don't need to write down my schedule because I have the weeks. So I'm using this to write out quotes of the day, pretty much. And it could be anything. It could be things I overheard, something I heard on the news, something that a conversation I had, funny things my kids said. So for this one, it starts out with, as the new year unfolds, I'm reminded that there is beauty in the unknown. And then this was a quote from CNN about the bomb cyclone that was going to hit the East Coast, a quote from the mayor of Pittsburgh on his inauguration day. This is about the bombogenesis, a Weather Channel quote about, these words are so scary when you hear them. So they just struck me. A funny conversation with my bestie. I was watching a documentary. And then a funny thing that my 5-year-old said. So it's a hodgepodge, and I don't know I don't know if I'll keep it up all year, but for now it's super fun, and yeah, I'm enjoying it. So that's that. Thanks again for watching and for your support. If you have any questions, or if you have any ideas for future videos, or anything you're interested in, please let me know, because I'm happy to yeah, I'm happy to do more videos. I think it's just a matter of finding the time and, finding different subject matters that could be interesting to folks. So hopefully, I hope you're having a great start to your new year, and I'll be back again soon.